I was born in Kuantan, but I grew up in KL my entire life. That's basically it. I mean, I've grown up in KL. I studied in PJ. Then I went overseas to study, and then I came back.
And what kind of family do you grow up in? Like, do you have your siblings or?
Oh yeah, I have a sister. I'm the eldest. I have 2 brothers. They actually are all now overseas. Typical Chinese family, I suppose. I grew up in a very strict environment. My dad is, of course, the whip of the house. My mom adds in that soft touch. But we were, I was brought up in a family where education was top priority. Discipline was very important. We were always taught to give our best in everything that we do. And as long as you've done your best, it's fine. But if you have not, then you should probably think about trying harder. So yeah, I've grown up with that my entire life. Both my mom and my dad grew up in very poor households. And both of them, in their families, their large families, they came out of poverty because of education. So they saw the value in that. They were, I think, the few siblings amongst themselves that actually made to university.
You went to study in UK. Where in UK?
Oh, I was in London.
Okay.
I did my degree in the London School of Economics. And then I went to pursue my bar in the Inner Temple. The actual course was taken in BPP University.
Why law? What got you interested in studying law?
People say that I'm very weird for even saying this. When I was, I knew that I wanted to do law when I was 12, and I stayed on that course ever since. How I arrived at that before I was 12 years old was, when you go to school, you're always made to think about your ambition, what you want to be when you grow up. And mine was always narrowed down to basically 3 things. I wanted to either be a policewoman, or a judge, or a lawyer. So the common denominator of all 3 was law.
Yes.
So at 12 years old, I knew I wanted to do law. But as I grew older, it also had to do with a lot of other things. Like I began to see how law is quite necessary in almost everything that we do. So for example, I had a cup of coffee this morning. In taking that cup of coffee, I basically entered into a contract with the person that sold me the coffee. So then, there are regulations that regulate that. In driving here, there are road rules that tells me what I can do, what I cannot do. So having seen how it permeates everything that we do every day, I began to be quite interested to, see how that applies in our everyday life and to be involved in that as well.
Had you always wanted to come back, or have you considered just staying in the UK?
I think the background to that was when I was 12. I remember my parents taking us on a holiday to New Zealand. And what was very curious about that holiday was my dad started visiting banks, right? And I thought, to have serious discussions with banks. And when I saw that, I found it very odd because I was supposed to be on a holiday. Why is there some business transactional type thing going on? Didn't really understand it at the time. And then I began overhearing my parents talking about getting a PR in New Zealand. In the background, there are other friends, my parents' other friends, who began the process of migrating to Australia. And since I was 12 onwards, one by one I saw a lot of my friends leaving. You know, we would always go to goodbye parties, and it wasn't very nice. And then that's where the idea came about that look, this country is not doing very well, and there are greener pastures elsewhere, which is why a lot of people were moving out. So my parents were looking to go to New Zealand, and for some reason it didn't work out. I think my mom said that look, at the end of the day, your dad still feels that this is home. And so we're not going anywhere. We're going to make the best out of what we have here. But when I went overseas, my parents saw it as an opportunity to, you know, for me to build a new life elsewhere where there are better opportunities. And so while I was there, I was encouraged quite a bit by my parents, and aside from that, my contemporaries as well. They carried the same ideology to, you know, set up root in the UK. So with those influences, I did consider it. I can't lie in saying that I can't, but in the process of trying to consider staying in the UK, I did apply for jobs there, but in applying for them and answering those questions, I began to realize that this is not where my heart is. Because the most difficult feeling that I had to battle literally almost every single day when I was in the UK, in reading the news here with Brexit happening almost every single year at the time, you know, it's our government just not doing very well. I felt very helpless. And in knowing that, you know, when I was young, I wanted to do law to help people, to help my fellow Malaysians, to then leave them on the back of how I feel and all that happening, I felt that it was a betrayal not only to them but to myself as well. So I thought, you know, even though the UK felt good, everything there was nice aside from the weather was horrible. I felt I had to come back. I had to come back. So I told myself when I came back from my first year in university, I'm going to do an internship in all three sectors. So that's what I did. So I did an internship in the law firm. I did an internship with the then Federal Court Judge Tan Sri James Fong. Then I also did an internship with Tony and Kian Ming, who are now Member of Parliament for Sedang and PGU. So after assessing all these three, I narrowed it down to two. I thought to myself, look, I really like law. I really want to practice as a lawyer. I'm very interested in policy making as well. But in terms of planning, I thought that, look, that would probably be a long-term thing. I want to develop myself as a lawyer first, and then when things are more secure, consider policy making or politics. So that's how, for me, things develop in terms of political consciousness. Last year, I joined GoBin, which is a huge leap in terms of field, because GoBin does, I think as we all know, criminal law, human rights, constitutional, public interest matters. He also does civil law. You know, I mean, as a lawyer, you still have to, time cost issue, you still have to bring in the money. And yeah, so that's how I've been practicing law.
What year did you join the AP?
I joined the AP in mid 2014. Mid 2014, yes.
So this was just a few years after, just about a year after you came back?
Yes, about a year after I came back.
So how do you end up joining the AP?
If you interview any other DAP members, I think the story will be quite similar. To be very honest, I wasn't thinking of joining DAP so soon. When I came back, I had a few good friends who were already members, and they were in the process of recruiting. So they knew that I just got back from my studies in the UK, and they said, hey, come, you know, a bunch of us, and they all used to work with Tony. They said that, oh, you know, we're having an event with Tony. Have you met him since you got back? And I said, oh, no, I've not. And they said, okay, so do you want to come for this event? And I thought, yeah, sure, no problem. I mean, it'll be nice to see him after such a long time. So a bunch of us and you know, a few other friends as well who brought their friends were at an event with Tony, and it was just a coffee chat. Then at the end of it, my friend said, oh, do you want to join as a member? And you know, at that time, with Tony standing right beside me, I thought, okay, why not? And so that's how I became a member of DAP.
Was it under duress?
Oh no, of course, I don't think so. I thought it was really something that was a matter of time. If it wasn't then, it would probably be later. So to me, whenever I joined, because I wasn't really made to decide until then, so whenever I joined wouldn't have been a problem. Really, it's either now or later. I think all Malaysians need to vote in the coming elections. It is going to be very heated, and I'm not going to say that Pakatan Harapan is the most perfect. I've been approached, and people say that, look, you guys need to get your act together. And we are, and we will. And I know that people are for now, not very happy with, you know, the perception that we are not united. I have to say that that's quite wrong. Why I say this is because the perception of this unity to me is an attempt by people who represent their communities to voice what they think their community needs. And where there are conflicting interests, there is conflict. But the reality of it is that is Malaysia, right? We are multicultural, we are multi-religious. We have people from all different backgrounds, professionals, urbanites, those from the rural areas, and everyone wants something. Everyone wants a slice of the pie, and the pie is only that big. So when you have people that represent different communities voicing out for their community, there is going to be clashes. But I think the measure that we need to go by is, are we a coalition that is able to manage that conflict and come to some sort of solution that will leave everyone, I won't say happy, but satisfied. Because if everyone, not everyone can be happy, right? When everyone is happy, there's something wrong. But everyone can be satisfied. And that comes with tension. And I think I would prefer that type of governance where my voice is heard than one where what I should do is being dictated from the top. So no, all Malaysians need to come out and vote, and I'm speaking especially to our younger generation as well, people my generation who are not politically aware.